The meeting of the Atlantic County Board of Freeholders is called to order. In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act of the State of New Jersey, adequate notice of this meeting of the Atlantic County Board of Chosen Freeholders was provided in the following manner. Published in the Press of Atlantic City, mailed to the Current, the Daily Journal, the Hamilton Gazette, the Hamilton News, and has been posted on the bulletin boards in the County Office Building in Atlantic City, the Stillwater Building in Northfield, and the County Clerk's Office in Mays Landing. Did you hear those Hamilton newspapers?
Yes.
All rise for the opening prayer and a pledge of allegiance.
Almighty God, we pray for the strength and courage to work towards a nation, a world of peace and understanding. Grant that our decisions be wise, our principles sound, and our performance in office faith.
Amen. Attention salute.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Bennett.
Here.
Bertino. Corsi. Fitzpatrick.
Here.
Formica.
Here.
Kern.
Here.
Risley.
Here.
And Gatto.
Here. Okay. You've all had an opportunity to review the minutes from the January 1st, 2019. If there are, January 8th, 2019. If there are no corrections, I will entertain a motion to adopt the minutes as presented. We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions?
I abstain.
Okay, thank you. Please let the record reflect that Freeholder Days is here.
We'll amend the roll call.
Amend the roll call.
Glad you can make it.
All right. Next, we will begin our resolution, starting with Resolution 75.
Renewal shared services agreement with the Atlantic County Special Services School District to provide educational services at Harbor Fields, amount not to exceed $446,257.88.
Motion. Second. Motion and a second. Any freeholder comments? Any public comments? Roll call
Yes.
vote, please.
Yes.
Sorry. Come on up.
Good evening, all.
Good evening.
Freeholder Fitzpatrick, thank you for the evening meetings, getting that started. And thank you all freeholders for the certificate that was presented to the Women's March. On 75, do you have a total of the students who have graduated from this program? Is this the first program or had left Harbor Fields and did something? Is there a total of anything concerning that?
Before I
Or is
have
this a
Jerry-
new?
Before I have Jerry answer that, can you just offer your name for the record? Name and
Joyce
location?
Mile, no, Atlantic City.
Thank you so much.
You welcome.
Okay, Jared, do you have an answer to that at all?
Well, most of the kids will not graduate because they don't stay there that long. They're either released and they go back into the community to their high schools, and or they would be adjudicated and go back into the community, or they go to Trent State for boys, and so they would finish their education there. We probably serve, depending on how many kids get admitted, anywhere between 75 and 100 kids per year. That's boys and girls. And we're required by state law to provide education while they're in the institution.
So do you have a total of what comes out of each town for the county?
Yeah,
You don't have any totals at all?
Yes. Oh, yeah. I could get that very easily for you. Yeah, but I would say the preponderance of kids come from Atlantic City, Pleasantville, and Egg Harbor Township.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Any other comments from the public on that item? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Bennett.
Yes.
Bertino.
Yes.
Corsi.
Yes.
Days.
Yes.
Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
Formica.
Yes.
Kern.
Yes.
Risley.
Yes.
And Gatto.
Yes. 76.
Amending the Atlantic County Consortium Annual Action Plans for the Community Development Block Grant to redirect funds among projects.
Second. Motion and a second. Any freeholder comments? Any comments from the public? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Bennett.
Yes.
Bertino.
Yes.
Corsi.
Yes.
Days.
Yes.
Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
Formica.
Yes.
Kern.
Yes.
Risley.
Yes.
And Gatto.
Yes. 77.
Agreement with the Rowan University for a student internship program for the Atlantic County Prosecutor's Office for a 3-year period, no cost.
Second. Motion and a second. Any freeholder comments on that? Any comments from the public? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Bennett.
Yes.
Bertino.
Yes.
Corsi.
Yes.
Days.
Yes.
Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
Formica.
Yes.
Kern.
Yes.
Risley.
Yes.
And Gatto.
Yes. 78.
Competitive contracts with various vendors for the provision of home care services under the Division of Welfare and State Respite Grant Program, amount not to exceed $340,138.
Motion.
Motion and a second. Any freeholder comments? Any comments from the public? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Bennett.
Yes.
Bertino.
Yes.
Corsi.
Yes.
Days.
Yes.
Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
Formica.
Yes.
Kern.
Yes.
Risley.
Yes.
And Gatto.
Yes. 79.
Renewal of bid contract with Alan Chorman and Son, Inc. for the provision of a helicopter rental for mosquito services, amount not to exceed $77,000.
Do we have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Motion and a second. Any freeholder comments? Any comments from the public? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Bennett.
Yes.
Bertino.
Yes.
Corsi.
Yes.
Days.
Yes.
Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
Formica.
Yes.
Kern.
Yes.
Risley.
Yes.
And Gatto.
Yes. 80.
Bid contract with Capri Construction Company, Inc. for the installation of stainless steel shower units at the Atlantic County Justice Facility, amount not to exceed $570,000.
Moved. Second.
Motion and a second. Any freeholder comments? I just have one to mention. I'm told that Capri Construction, who is, by the way, an Atlantic County firm, hires mainly Atlantic County subcontractors who employ, as I'm told, only Atlantic County employees, which is a win in a lot of directions. Any other freeholder comments on that? Any comments from the public? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Bennett.
Yes.
Bertino.
Yes.
Corsi.
Yes.
Days.
Yes.
Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
Formica.
Yes.
Kern.
Yes.
Risley.
Yes.
And Gatto.
Yes. 81.
Change order number 1, contract with Arthur R. Henry, Inc. for Cardiff Center parking lot improvements to extend the contract date only, no additional cost.
Moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any freeholder comments? Comments from the public? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Bennett.
Yes.
Bertino.
Yes.
Corsi.
Yes.
Days.
Yes.
Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
Formica.
Yes.
Kern.
Yes.
Risley.
Yes.
And Gatto.
Yes. 82.
Amended lease agreement with the Center for Family Services to accept reimbursement for the installation of the fire sprinkler system, contribution not to exceed $30,000.
Move.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any freeholder comments? Any comments from the public? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Bennett.
Yes.
Bertino.
Yes.
Corsi.
Yes.
Days.
Yes.
Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
Formica.
Yes.
Kern.
Yes.
Risley.
Yes.
And Gatto.
Yes. 83.
Acceptance of deeds, easements from various grantors in accordance with Atlantic County planning standards.
Moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any freeholder comments? Comments from the public? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Bennett.
Yes.
Bertino.
Yes.
Corsi. Days.
Yes.
Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
Formica.
Yes.
Kern.
Yes.
Risley.
Yes.
And Gatto.
Yes. 84.
Amending and supplementing resolution number 270 of 2017 concerning an agreement with the Township of Galloway to acquire property known as the Mill Pond Watershed Node C to extend the date for settlement.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any freeholder comments? Any comments from the public? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Bennett.
Yes.
Bertino.
Yes.
Corsi.
Yes.
Days.
Yes.
Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
Formica.
Yes.
Kern.
Yes.
Risley.
Yes.
And Gatto.
Yes. 85.
Agreement with the owners of Block 262, Lots 9 and 10, in the city of Apsecan regarding installation and maintenance of guide rail along a portion of Mill Road, County Route 651, no cost.
Moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any freeholder comments? Any comments from the public? Seeing none, roll call.
Bennett.
Yes.
Bertino.
Yes.
Corsi.
Yes.
Days.
Yes.
Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
Formica.
Yes.
Kern.
Yes.
Risley.
Yes.
And Gatto.
Yes. 86.
Reappointment of Clement F. Wazlinski to the Atlantic County Construction Board of Appeals for a term to expire on January 1, 2023.
Moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any freeholder comments? Comments from the public? Roll call vote.
Bennett.
Yes.
Bertino.
Yes.
Corsi.
Yes.
Days.
Yes.
Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
Formica.
Yes.
Kern.
Yes.
Risley.
Yes.
And Gatto.
Yes. 87.
Resolution in support of Path to Progress recommendation made by the New Jersey Economic and Fiscal Policy Work Group, sponsor Karen L. Fitzpatrick.
Move. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any freeholder comments?
Yeah.
Freeholder Fitzpatrick.
Sure. Mrs. Harris, could you read the resolution, please?
Whereas the state of New Jersey is facing a dire fiscal crisis resulting from years of pension underfunding and escalating healthcare costs, and whereas actuaries project the state will have to increase its pension contribution from $3.2 billion in this year's budget to $6.7 billion to reach the actuarially required contribution by fiscal year 2023. And whereas the state of New Jersey, its local governments, and their respective employees share in the burden of escalating healthcare costs, whereas we need to embrace bold and innovative solutions to bring these and other major cost drivers under control, whereas the state must provide local governments with the tools to operate more efficiently, whereas New Jersey is a high tax state with a high cost of living, therefore we must explore opportunities for savings before increasing any taxes on residents. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Chosen Freeholders of the County of Atlantic expresses its support for the concepts presented in the Path to Progress report issued by the New Jersey Economic and Fiscal Policy Work Group, and be it further resolved that the Board of Chosen Freeholders of the County of Atlantic will monitor the progress of the legislature as it deliberates on these concepts and recommendations. Be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution is forwarded to State Assemblyman John Armato and Vincent Mazzeo, and Senator Chris Brown, Senate President Sweeney, Assembly Speaker Kuglin, Senator Paul Sarlo, Senator Steve Oroho, Assembly Majority Leader Greenwald, Assemblywoman Alina Pintor-Marin, Senator Tony Bucco, Senator Troy Singleton, Senator Dawn Adiago, the Governor of State of New Jersey, the New Jersey Association of Counties, and the New Jersey State League of Municipalities.
Thank you. May I continue?
Sure.
Okay, so we had this on the agenda last month, but it was withdrawn because we didn't, or it wasn't felt that we would, should be so specific in supporting, there were two specific of language in the resolution. And this resolution has been rewritten to merely say that we support the concepts presented in the plan because the state is broke and we have to think outside the box without taxing the residents and taxpayers of the state. The state is to provide local government, including county government, with tools to operate more efficiently. And we want to, or this resolution says, and I agree, that we should support the concepts presented in the plan. They are not so specific, there is no money being allocated. We are merely supporting the idea of thinking outside the box to come up with new ways of sharing services, cutting redundant administrative costs, and passing those savings along to taxpayers. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other freeholder comments on this? Freeholder Bertina.
Thank you. I think last time when we did introduce it, when we brought it before, there were some specific instances in some of the issues within the Path of Progress, some of the initiatives that they're recommended. And we threw a couple of them out there. And I think we wanted to have a chance to give you time to go back, re-look at it, and see if you wanted to change the language or answer any of those questions. The one that I have was that initially when we talked about the concepts and when you accept the proposal and say conceptually it's okay to follow this guideline the state's giving you, it's a footprint. Most of the stuff in there is fine, and I don't have an issue with it. There are some particulars in there, though, that they asked, as I stated last time. One was a countywide police force. In my particular district, I have some communities that have state police. So there's going to be a direct impact on knowing what the cost would be. They're going to ask me, Jimmy, if we're talking about providing countywide police, what are the costs to us in the county is going to be in the tax rate? And that's something I think that we have to have on some of these. If you're going to talk about the concept generally, some of these particulars that are in here are very specific. I got to have an answer for that in order for me to feel comfortable supporting it, because they're going to ask me, why did I support some without knowing the cost? So that's what I'd be asking you on, something like that. Have you had a chance in the Finance Committee to review any of the costs associated with maybe putting together a countywide, force for policing that we're talking about and handling the rest of this county. It's a little bit different. I know we have nothing on the books. You may not have had the opportunity to do that unless you speak with, Mr. Fedorko, or if you've had a chance. I don't know if you have any answers for that. That was something I had brought to your attention last time, and I feel pretty strongly about it. Most of the other stuff is, it's talking about the tax assessments, they're all little issues that I have no concept. I don't have any problem with in general concept, because especially when you tell me the state of New Jersey is going to put the language together, and I don't know what it is before they put it, because I have so much confidence in their ability to be fair and equitable across the whole state when they're putting plans together. I have a real concern with it. So that's why I was wondering if you had any chance to review any of those, or answer any of those questions from the last time this resolution was introduced.
I do not have an answer on the cost of accounting.
And any of the other issues that we discussed, that there was a couple other ones, I can get into particulars, it doesn't matter. If you haven't had a chance, your concept right now is modify the language a little bit so it's more palatable. Is that what you're looking for, as opposed to addressing the particular issues that we discussed?
My purpose was to offer a supportive statement. There is nothing being legislated here. These things are still in the works. Well, all
That's what concerns me.
I'm trying to do is say, yeah, we support something that is going to enable us and our state legislators to think of new ways of doing things without taxing, increasing taxes.
Okay.
Sure.
Don't you think there's been those discussions already at the state level before this concept comes out within committees, that they may have some preliminary suggestions that no one's bringing out? They're asking us around the rest of the state to look at this as a concept and say, it's okay, let's all move forward with it. But there's no particulars, and as Freeholder Corsi stated last time, everything that comes out sometimes isn't exactly the way it was discussed until it's presented in legislation. That's my concern. I don't know what it is I'm particularly saying I'm in favor of. And a couple of these are very specific.
Thanks. Any other freeholder comments?
Madam Chair.
Sure, freeholder
If I
Corsi.
may, at the last meeting, when we discussed this resolution, and I made it very clear the reason why I was not supporting the resolution. I thought, and I stand to be corrected, because I have a little, every now and then, a memory block, but I thought we discussed we were going to take it to a committee before we put it back on the agenda. The truth is, I thought we talked about where was Senator Sweeney in terms of the legislators and their committees and where they actually stood. I thought that's what I asked at the last meeting. Apparently that did not happen. It hadn't gone to no committee of the Board of Freeholders. And again, there's a lot of stuff in the bill I told you I support. I thought we were going to discuss it by way of committee of the Board of Freeholders. That didn't happen. And I know, and at least it just happened last night, none of the legislators, whether it was on the Senate side or the Assembly side, have discussed these issues. There was a meeting that took place in Stockton, broke out, and I understand you wanted to think outside the box, and I get all of that. This is not going to break or make me one way or the other. But if I make a recommendation or suggestion, I expect it courtesy to go through the proper channel.
I don't recall being assigned to bring this to a committee.
I think I spent 15 minutes talking about it. And be honest with you, I think my comment was, I didn't care what committee it went to, but it collective, we should have discussed it before we brought it back, because if you recall, we attempted to make amendments to the resolution that particular day. And I know your memory is about better than mine. I kept saying we need 5 votes. We didn't have them. We need to go back, discuss it among ourselves, see where we agree to disagree. But I still wanted to know where the state was, the Senate and the Assembly. And to the day, I still haven't got that information.
Well, may I?
Oh, sure.
I think it's very timely because today in the news, it was shown that Senator Sweeney refused to put a bill forward that would pass healthcare, state healthcare costs onto taxpayers, because he again cited this path to progress, that he is not going to do that, and his recommendation is to change their health care plan from platinum to gold, and that would be saving the money. And I understand that you want me to count to 5, but that's not gonna happen. So I'm happy to have this put to a vote today.
Whether, and I'm not gonna belay this point, and like I said, I don't care one way or the other. I really don't have no objection to voting for it because it's a concept, but more, it's the principle for me. When I recommended this board that we should have met to discuss it and it didn't happen, that's why I have a problem with it. I don't have a problem with the concept. I don't have a problem with wanting to think outside the box, but I'm not just gonna support it because you put it on the agenda and just not even get any other discussion since the last meeting. There's nothing came back from the state to talk about any of this. Now, whatever legislation you're talking about that Senator Sweeney talked about today, I'm not privy to that at this point. That sounds good, but I'm always cautious. If the state mandates, county pays it. That's what we've got to be careful of. And we also talked about bail reform in that same meeting. So, again, I don't even have a problem voting for this. The votes are not there. But if that's what you want, and you want this resolution to go, it's fine. But I'm going to say to this whole entire board, next time I make a suggestion and a recommendation that it go to a committee, y'all can rest assured I will not support it if it doesn't go through the necessary committees that I asked it to go through. And this is not the first time these issues have come up like this. For me, it'll be the last time. Because I think that was an easy request. You can change some language in it. It's still, how many committees, ad hoc committees we have? Could have went somewhere, but it didn't go anywhere. And I understand the difference between politics and policies. I get that. And at the end of the day, listen, the votes are there, they're voted down, God bless them. At the end of the day, I'm only asking that if I suggest that it goes to a committee for recommendation or suggestions, even for additional information, I think it should go there. Whether it's you put it up, I put it up, they put it, I don't give a rat's tail who puts it up. It's a courtesy that we should give to each other. And again, you know, there's enough, I'm not gonna say blame to go around, but you know, at some point, the chair has to say, listen, we're gonna vet this to X committee. Whatever comes out of that committee, comes out of the committee. But not to even send it to committee, yeah, I got a problem with that. And it's not your fault. And I'm not gonna say it's anybody's fault in particular, but I think it should have gone through a necessary committee.
Okay, thank you, Freeholder Risley.
Thank you. I will not be supporting this resolution for the same reasons basically as I stated before. It is a basket of policies with no specific recommendations. And I'm not going to be involved with something of that nature. Yes, New Jersey has a tremendous financial problem. We have state legislators in the state assembly, the state senate, and the governor who were elected to come up with recommendations after deep study and consideration to promote their particular exact ideas forward. The one that's glaring to me in the report is about countywide tax assessment, something I've done extensive research on. And I know that the plan that's in the works for pushing the Gloucester County tax assessment plan on our county is simply not in our best interest, not cost effective. Wrote a report on the topic, and I'm very familiar with that topic. So that's just one issue. If there's specifics that this body wants to consider, that's fine. But I am not going to sit here and endorse a basket full of philosophical things. Sure, would we like free this or free that? Sure, we would like that. But how are you going to get there? And who's going to pay? What's the details? And the devil is always in the details. So with that, I will not be supporting this.
Thank you, Freeholder. Freeholder Davis.
Again, there's a lot in this resolution that I agree with. I agree that New Jersey is in a dire financial situation. I agree that New Jersey is a high tax state with a high cost of living, and it goes on to say we must explore opportunities for savings before increasing any taxes on residents. But as Freeholder Corsi and Freeholder Rizzi alluded to, there are a lot of ifs. Every time we turn around, there's something else. Countywide assessment, bail reform. You mentioned countywide police. We just had a resolution about the mail-in ballot that cost us money, which violated the state constitution. The state's diverting our 911 fees, which is adding additional costs to our first responders in the county. We can sit and say we're going to monitor the state legislation that may come as a result of this. But I was at that forum, that roundtable discussion, and it was, there was no back and forth, no give and take. In fact, Senator Sweeney said that it's going to have to be, the state's going to tell you this is how it's going to happen, and you're going to like it, pretty much. The more we debated, he said that it's not going to happen. That was his exact quote, but he pretty much said that the state's going to act, and you're going to have to deal with whatever we tell you. To me, that's not exploring opportunities. That's not an open discussion. That's not how legislation should be created. And again, there's a lot of positive stuff, a lot of things that need to happen in that report. Healthcare reform, which I think some of it did happen for retirees and others on the state level. But to just blanketly say we're going to support the path to progress, when I didn't hear any details at that roundtable, the Senator Sweeney said, I'm still not comfortable blanketly endorsing that idea.
Thank you, Freeholder. Freeholder Kamika.
I too support the idea of thinking out of the box, and I was also at the round table, and much of what's already been said here is correct. The state's in trouble. We need to find ways the state needs to find ways to cut money. Well, if they need to find ways to cut expenses, and if this basket of ideas includes the County of Atlantic doing something to help the state but paying for it, and not even having a plan on how much it costs, I couldn't support that. It's interesting that they can identify their deficiencies, but yet they'll turn around and throw $100 million into the racetrack subsidies, which was designated as a dead business 7 years ago. That $100 million means nothing. There's 100,000 billboards in the state of New Jersey that make anywhere between $3,000 and $30,000 a month. Not one of them pays real estate tax, and not one of them has a tax. A user fee for the billboards would generate just about $10 million a year. So it is an unfunded mandate in its specifics, although I would agree that in the spirit of this, it sounds like a good thing to do, except when you look at the fact that they'll all turn into, when there is legislation, more unfunded mandates. The bail reform costs were never remunerated. The mail-in ballot, we know what the cost of that is. And in the plan, it calls for this countywide assessment, which we estimate is about a $9 million startup if we follow the Gloucester plan, and God knows how much after that. The countywide police department, there is no budget that would ever think of how much that will cost every single year. And I believe you're also supporting something that would change the lives of all of the teachers in this county, and in the form of higher co-pays. And I don't think that this board should make a positive support of something only to have the state say, don't complain about it, you supported it. So for those reasons, just one other thing that just seems to be the state can stub its toe all year long. This $15 an hour wage minimum is going to be something good for a lot of people that could possibly be making money. Except we made a big hullabaloo about the call center industry in Atlantic City. The EDA put out millions of dollars. They're all looking to move out of Atlantic City once this hits, because they can't compete with Georgia, Alabama, and Florida, and all the other states that won't have the minimum set that high. So for all those reasons, I think the state needs to take a look at itself, where it can cut money. And I'd even mention the blanket raises that were put in as soon as this administration went into place that had no call for it. I think they need to pull in on their purse strings before they expect Atlantic County to contribute to their deficiencies.
Thank you, Freeholder. Any other Freeholder comments? Freeholder Fitzpatrick.
Okay, so I was at the round table as well, Mr. Days, and I heard something completely different than you did, but I guess that's just perception, from where we are. And I also recall you, Freeholder Formica, bringing up the taxes on the billboards at that meeting, and what Senator Sweeney said was no new taxes.
Actually, he wrote down that they were looking into it.
And that's it.
Well, I mean, I thought the billboard piece I'm glad you brought it up because, you know, he says he wants innovative and different ideas. And I felt like that was a really good one that was brought up among many others that were brought up. And I do feel like a lot of it were kind of shot down. I mean, there was a retort to everything. On top of that, we haven't seen any follow-up to any of the ideas that we presented. And that gentleman who gave us all his card and said he would be following up, I haven't heard from him at all, other than to get the resolution that they wanted us to pass. So I share your sentiments, Freeholder Famika. And, you know, I think that to support the concepts is, I know your intent was to start the dialogue, if I understood your
That is
intent
correct.
last time we had this discussion. I don't think saying to support the concepts that are presented is going to do that because of all the discussion we've had at the prior meeting and in this meeting in terms of the issues with the specific concepts. So, you know, I think if it were to say that, you know, we agree there's a tax problem and that the state should be looking at pension and benefit reform, the state should be looking at education reform, the things that they control. And when they issue some legislation, we're happy to look at that and comment on it. I think that is how you get the discussion started. I don't think this is the way. That's just my personal thoughts.
Yeah, Madam Chair, if I may.
Yes, of course. And by the way, I take the blame if I was supposed to send it to a committee.
No such thing as take the blame.
No, I understand. I'm just saying if that was my miss, I take it. So go ahead.
The other question I have is, you talk about monitors. Who's going to monitor?
May I answer you?
Oh, well, yeah.
Okay. Well, when, you know, nothing they do is in secret. When legislation is being proposed, we all know it. That's how.
Who's going to monitor from the county? We're passing a resolution. If you ask us to get a resolution, who's going to monitor? The administration? The Freeholder Board? Who's going to monitor?
No one specifically. We as citizens, we as freeholders.
So we become the gatekeeper, so to speak, to monitor if in fact they do anything, right?
Just like
Now,
we're
again,
monitoring the rail situation.
Well,
Right.
that's a whole new ball game, and if you read the latest today, news about the rail, the feds made it very clear, they are not stopping the state of New Jersey from opening the rail line, said you can open it right now. So again, we plan tit for tat,
That would be
if they want to open it back up. I didn't even want to go down that road, but
Well,
I want
I'm
to say
just
on
saying,
this.
as we monitor that and we have conversations about that, this is a similar situation.
Kind of sort of, because on that issue regarding the rail, there's money involved and safety issues that was involved that was addressed. The state said they're waiting to get the green light from the feds to open the Atlantic City rail line back up. And one other one, I forgot the other one. The fed says, time out. They don't need our permission. You can open that right now. So that tells us the safety issue has been addressed. There's some additional stuff that needs to be done, but they can open the rail line. That has absolutely nothing to do with this particular resolution today. I'm just asking one question. Who is going to monitor? If you're going to tell me, Karen, you will take responsibility to monitor it, I'll support your resolution today.
Just as we are monitoring that situation, not talking about the specifics of it, what's coming and going and who's at fault and who lied to who, but we're watching what's going on. We're also watching what goes on at the state level for legislation in these issues.
Okay, Karen, let me ask you this question. I'm done. Will you, and I'm not speaking for the rest, I'm speaking for me, the media. I support your resolution today. You're going to tell me. And again, I get what you want to do. So I don't want you to think I'm not getting what you intend to do. Will you, to me, I don't care about the rest of them, will you keep me informed what's happening up and down the state of New Jersey as you get it
As I get it,
from them?
if I
But
don't
this is
have to
something
go
from
looking
Sweeney and
for
them
it.
that they claim that they're going to do something. I don't know what the something is yet.
Mhm.
Again, we got caught with bail reform. Cost the county a lot of money. You're telling me, Karen DeCourcy, that you will keep me abreast of what you hear up and down the state, I'll support your resolution.
What
Because
I-
somebody's got to monitor them.
What I hear, you'll hear, Ernest.
So is that a yes?
Sure.
All right, Freeholder Days.
I don't mean to belabor this, but there's
I'm
a,
gonna finish, but I reserve the
I'm
balance of
sorry.
my time.
Sorry, Freeholder.
I'm out of time, okay.
Freeholder Days.
Again, we talk about monitoring it. There's a Path to Progress Twitter feed, Path to Progress NJ. Who controls that?
I believe the Senate Majority Office.
So Senator Sweeney, that's Senator Sweeney's feed. Through this Path to So if we support this Path to Progress, we're supporting Senator Sweeney's, I mean, here's one tweet that says, we need to phase out the current pension system and replace it with a 401k type program.
A hybrid.
Hybrid pension system. That was February 4th. I mean, so there are ideas that the senator is putting out there.
That's all, and that's not new, that's in the,
Right, but is this Senator Sweeney or is this roundtable fiscal policy work group that whose ideas are we endorsing? I'm confused now.
the,
If one person's controlling the Twitter feed,
I would say the office is controlling the Twitter feed. I mean, you know, they have clerks to do that.
so again, that's my problem,
Whose
supporting
words they
this.
are, I couldn't say.
That's my problem, supporting this. Now, are they going to be speaking for us? Because we endorse them, their plans, and everything they tweet out, we support. That's my concern also. I don't know who's in control of that.
I believe I'm trying to support the idea of the plan.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Freeholder Days. Any other Freeholder comments? All right, seeing none, any comments from the public? Yes, please come on up. Make sure you state your name and town.
Maureen Levy from Becker.
Thank you.
It's amazing to me to hear this back and forth because it's the support of an idea. An idea. We're all in the state of New Jersey, but yet Freeholder from Formica is talking like they're the enemy. We're part of New Jersey. Maybe we need to work together.
They are the enemy.
They who first?
Trenton sends us mandates,
I'm
and it works
sorry.
against the taxpayers.
You're a citizen of the state of New Jersey.
I'm with you.
And that
I'm
to
a
me
fiduciary
is-
responsibility to the taxpayer of Atlantic County.
that, which is part of the state of New Jersey. And for you to call the state an enemy is
When it comes to
appalling.
fiscal responsibility,
It's appalling.
well,
Second part is the committee issue. You know, you're upset because it didn't go to committee, but yet you don't even know what committee it should have gone to. I mean, that's ridiculous. If there was an issue that had to be brought to a committee, then you should have known which committee you wanted to deal with the issue. And it sounds to me that if Steve Sweeney is for this, we are against it. We are against it. I mean, it is time to work together. This is about thinking outside the box and about promoting working together. And with those kind of ideas that the state is our enemy, you're never, ever going to get anything done in Atlantic County. And Freeholder Formica, I'm sure you benefited from no taxes for your billboards. I wonder how you'll do in the, gonna pay taxes when you run for assembly? With your big
I don't own a
billboards?
billboard. I don't own a billboard. The
You
taxes
don't
are on
own
the
it?
billboard owners.
Okay, all right.
You got it now, okay.
Thank you. Any other comments from the public? Yes.
Creed Poe from Estelle Manor. There was concern last time that the language was a little rough, even though y'all said rougher stuff, but that's okay. This time, it's support the concept, but we're concerned about some of the specifics, but we don't get anything out of all those various subcommittees that made up the group, and Senator Steve Ororo from Sussex County is known as one of the mountain men in the legislature. As conservative as some of you want to think you are, he makes you look like a pinko. But he is willing to work with Steve Sweeney, the Senate President, on bipartisan ideas. Now, just because they're bipartisan, those ideas may still stink. And they may still have a lot of things that need to be done on implementation. No question. But let's at least try to figure how we're going to start the conversation. At least say, there's 2 or 3 things here I like. I'm in favor of that. Because obviously this resolution is going to fail today. We all know that. So something may well come back, but it'd be nice to know what the heck you'd be in favor of. I've heard, obviously I wasn't at the Stockton Forum, I've heard Senator Sweeney in other situations. It's not that him saying, this is what I am going to impose, and you may not like it, or you're not going to like it. It's, we need to make some tough decisions as we go forward in this state. And either at that point we're part of the conversation, which doesn't guarantee we're going to like the answer. But if we're not part of the conversation, that will guarantee we will not like the answer. So, you may oppose it, and that's fine. Respectfully, Freeholder Formica, and you and I have had our positive back and forths and our not so positive back and forths, but you're hoping this is your last year on the Freeholder Board. Going somewhere you think you're going to wind up being an enemy, I don't know how well that works, but that's a whole other discussion for another point. I say that because dual office holding is forbidden in the state of New Jersey.
You're assuming I'm going to win. Thank
No, that's no, I said what you want, sir. What you want this to be is your last year. That's what you said you wanted. So therefore, that's a whole other thing. And if we're talking no new taxes, that is going to include stuff like billboards. Now, on the other hand, if the Freeholder Board is willing to say, yes, let's tax billboards, that may be something to consider. If there are other items that, as opposed to don't tax me and don't tax him, tax the man behind the tree. If we're things that we're going to be in favor of, that you're willing to express support for, preferably on a bipartisan basis, that may well be a good thing. Whether, even if it is 10 million out of a 30 billion budget, at least it's 10 million more than you had yesterday. That part was good. But to just knock the whole thing down, I think is just a shame. Right? It's just and doesn't really move us forward any. And if there was some, hey, I like this part, I like that part, I like something else, that would also be helpful. But perhaps, and Freeholder, of course, I have to admit, to be perfectly honest, I did not remember myself the discussion about the committee. Of course, there was a rather active discussion that day, so I'll certainly admit that I missed it in all of that too. But certainly, I guess the Budget Committee, which is 2-2, could look at the path to progress and perhaps then lift up some things that could get some bipartisan support. There have been other things supported by this board over the last number of years that have not been a bill that is currently in the legislature. So to support something in concept and ask that your legislators pick it up would certainly be helpful. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Any other, yes? Come on up. Please state your name and come for the record.
Good evening, Paul Rosenberg, Egg Harbor Township. I never failed to miss an opportunity to stick my foot in my mouth. I have known Freeholder Corsi and Freeholder Formica for 2 decades, I think, and I have the utmost respect for them, not only in their intelligence, but their capability in their roles as legislators, both municipal and county. This, to me, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not an accountant, but this is backwards, all right? I've worked on Capitol Hill. I've worked for assemblymen, 4 of them, and 2 senators in the state of New Jersey. These letters mean absolutely nothing. You're going to send it up there, the chairman's office is going to take a look at it, it's going to go in a file, and that's it. You're on record if they need it sometime down the road. Everything, whether it's in Congress, the state, the Freeholder Board, City Council, goes through committee. The only difference is the staffs get bigger the higher you go. The staffs get more influential. 2 things that were said tonight by Mr. Corsi and Mr. Formica. Mr. Corsi mentioned the committee, all right? anything that goes through this board is not your opinion, your 9 opinions, all right? It is legislation coming from the Board of Chosen Freeholders to represent me and all of the other people who are residents of Atlantic County. All right, the minute Atlantic County needs some firm or some panel to come up with recommendations because we are in dire straits, like the city of Atlantic City needed and the state of New Jersey needs right now, we can hire that panel, we can look at their recommendations, and we can draft our own legislation. I'd like to read what is available to me, and I'll make it really quick. I can't get the full report, but the first paragraph, the first 2 sentences. The work group was created earlier this year to make recommendations to address New Jersey's public worker pension crisis, reduce property taxes, create government and school efficiencies, and improve the state's tax structure. 2 of them are redundant, and the other 3 are all controlled by the state constitution. This board has absolutely no authority. With all due respect to one of my fellow taxpayers in the audience here, I believe it's unconstitutional for the Atlantic County government to be recommending legislation to the state of New Jersey. Just like the state of New Jersey can't recommend legislation to the Congress. As soon as there's legislation, you do what Chairman Formica did when he was in the big seat. You go up there in front of the committee and you raise hell. You like it or you don't like it. If you really want to get active and you really want to do it, you hire a lobbyist. If you can't afford a lobbyist, the chairman appoints a committee. The committee goes and meets with your state representative, and the state representatives are the ones that are supposed to be crafting legislation and trend. I find it a little frustrating to see this kind of thing. I don't know how much time and effort and staff and paper and computers and all this nonsense that goes into drafting this kind of a thing, but as a taxpayer, I'd like to see you knock it off. I appreciate your time tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other members of the public wish to comment?
I know I'm going to try.
Sorry, let's move up.
Again.
I'm sorry, I'm a little new to this. There. There. I got invited by Freeholder Corsi tonight, and I'm Donna Saber from Margate, New Jersey, and I live in a small town, and I love my small town, and I hear all the stuff that's like rolling down the pike towards eliminating like small towns, and when I'm listening to Mr. Formica and Mr. Risky and Mr. Corsi, I'm just saying thank you that we've got such good people here. I think that you're protecting the small town integrity, because I don't know, as they've stated, I don't know where this is leading. And it just sounds like a, train wreck coming towards us, and I really appreciate you. I'm new here, but thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it. Any other members of the public? Okay, seeing none, we will go ahead and have a roll call vote.
Madam Chair, if I may.
Yes.
Let me be very clear, and I want to address your issue. When you talk in terms of, you hear us talk about committees, that's why we have committees, to hash out stuff, to get information accepted. And I think it becomes healthy, and you get information that normally a resolution doesn't give. And that was part of my reason suggesting that we go to a committee. Again, I get it. I get the concept of, I get all of that. But again, we've always got to be cautious to the fact that when the state starts wanting us to do something, who's going to pay for it? We support it, then when you got to pay for it, you come back as a taxpayer, why are we doing X, Y, and Z? Because we didn't get all the information that I think we should have gotten from Senator Sweeney. And again, you mentioned, because Sweeney puts it up, they against it. I can't speak for them. There's a whole lot of stuff Sweeney puts up, I support. However, if I can't get the necessary information that I think I'm asking for, I don't give a rat's tail if Donald Trump put it up. If it was good legislation, I support it. But of course, he didn't put up nothing good yet. The fact of the matter is that, and it's good to think outside the box, as we indicated. And it's something Karen has been talking about and doing. I did not attend that meeting. Some of my colleagues attended that meeting. But again, Karen has assured me tonight she's going to keep me posted. I'm going to hold it to it. I wasn't there, so I can't tell you what they all discussed about. There's some stuff in the legislature I support, some stuff I don't. I do not support countywide policing under no circumstances, right? Because the first town they want to take is Atlantic City. Atlantic County damn sure don't want Atlantic City. First of all, they don't know which streets are. They don't know the side streets, so they don't want to bring those employees over because they don't want to pay them. Right? So, selfishly, I don't support countywide policing because we know what happened with countywide policing in Camden. It was only Camden. Cherry Hill, Boyd East, they all still got their own municipality. There was a mission to take Camden's police department. That's all that came down to, right? We all jumped up and down. Gotta support county police. For example, and I'm done, even if we wanted to support county police, it has to be a referendum. You can't pull that slick move they did in Camden County. No referendum, nobody had no say so, and they rushed it through. I can almost rest assured, as well as we fought against casinos in North Jersey, I'm sure they would rise up and be against countywide police, because if it was countywide, it would only be Atlantic City they would try to take control from, which under their Republican governor, Chris Christie, they did everything they could to embarrass Atlantic City, overreaching. Now we have a governor who's trying to come in and ease that up and get people to working together, because now they're sitting at the table and they're having dialogue and they're trying to discuss what is the best plan to move Atlantic City forward. I say this and I'm done. My favorite quote up here has always been, they were promised 13.5% by their governor. They didn't get it. New governor comes in, they negotiate a deal, and they get the 13.5%, right? They still, the County of Atlantic, who I'm a part of, still have to provide additional shared services to Atlantic City. We have to identify with the city of Atlantic City and the county what those shared services are going to be. Dialoguing, talking, blah, blah, blah. Trust me, that's going to go to a committee. You can almost rest assured. So with that, I get it. I get the passion of it. I appreciate my colleague continue to do it. Like I said, I came in here today with the intent to vote against it. You promised me personally, and I'm going to hold you accountable.
Thank you.
To whatever that means.
Okay.
Yeah, and I just want to say too that I don't think anyone here is saying that we're not willing to come to the table. In fact, many of us made it a priority to be at that table and at that November meeting to have and start the dialogue. And I don't think that this has anything to do with the fact that Senator Sweeney is sending it forward. I think Senator Sweeney has been a great partner to us in Atlantic County on a number of issues. There's nothing involved with that there. And I also just want to state for the record that none of this has been written or presented in pieces, which I think was also part of the discussion that we had at the last meeting, that knowing that there's some things that many of us have explicitly stated we support or deny, it's been presented as a whole, and I think that is the continued problem. Just want to clear a couple of those things up. All right, that having been said, are we ready for our roll call vote? Okay, Madam Clerk.
Bennett,
Yes.
Bertino, Corsi,
Protesting, yes.
Days,
No.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Formica,
No.
Kern,
No.
Risley,
No.
Gatto.
No. All right, that brings us to the end of our printed agenda. Let's go to any reports of special committees. Anybody have any reports of special committees?
Now, Madam President, if I can, before we get started,
Sure.
I want you to know that was down party line, so y'all can't say it was bipartisan. That was a county vote, that was a party line vote.
That was your
Okay.
choice.
I know,
Thank you.
I'm just letting you know.
Appreciate
It was your choice.
I'm just letting you be clear, you know.
Be clear.
It was party lines with a protest. Please put the footnote in there. Thank you very much.
And what the change was.
All right, moving on. Any reports? None? Okay, any unfinished business? Seeing none? Any new business? Freeholder Fitzpatrick.
I was approached by Water Watch, an environmental group, and the state has talked about getting off of fossil fuels by the year 2050, and their data says that's too long, and they propose 2035. Glassboro has supported a resolution to do that, and Hamilton also has supported the resolution to,
Hamilton?
say Hamilton, to get us off of fossil fuels by 2035, and I was asked to bring that thought forward to the Freeholder Board. So if you'll all just mull it over.
I'm gonna definitely need some information, because
Yeah.
fossil fuels is not my subject matter
Sure,
expertise.
I can send you what she gave to me, and then we can talk about it.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other new business? Was that a yes or no? Okay, Freeholder. Written communications or petitions. I just want to make note of one that I think we all received, or it was sent out from administration around businesses are being sought to host Atlantic County paid workers and interns in the age of 16 to 24 by our Workforce Development Board. We have, it runs through the summer. I forget what the date, but I think it's like June through October somewhere. So if anybody's aware of businesses who would like to take on some interns for the summer, it's a fully funded program. Unlike the state, we do fund it. So you can visit atlanticcountywdb.com. There's also information on our website, I believe under our news releases, if anybody has any interest there. Just piggybacking off of the Rutgers program that was mentioned earlier with the prosecutor's office, which I think is great.
Madam Chair, do they have a number of how many interns they're looking for?
I did not see that in the information we received. I'm sure Rhonda could answer that if we need to get that. Okay, any other written communications or petitions? Seeing none, we will open it up to public comment. Anybody in the public wish to comment on anything? Okay, seeing none?
I do.
Oh, sorry.
Good evening again.
Good evening.
I want to take you all back to January 15th. And I heard this mentioned today about the vote by mail ballot. I wasn't able to get to this meeting that you had on January 15th. But I am appalled that the way the vote went down, not to support that vote by mail that's being sent out. I wasn't here for the whole discussion. So could you tell me it was 60? 60, that was the resolution.
Right.
You can give me some information on it before I give you mine, if you want.
I'll let you finish, ma'am. I don't want to interrupt.
Well,
I'm sorry.
I need the information because I didn't see it in the minutes, so.
Okay.
You can give me the information on what stand you took and why you took that stand.
Okay, well, the item that was on the agenda was around supporting a complaint, filing a complaint with NJAC, the New Jersey Association of Counties, regarding an unfunded state mandate. It had absolutely nothing to do with allowing vote by mail or not allowing. It had nothing to do with that. In fact, I think somebody brought up in the public comment that it was meant to be an attack on voter suppression. Zero to do with that. What the complaint had to do with was the state mandated in August that for the November election, just months after it was passed, that we had to pay for mail-in ballots that were applied for in 2016 and forward being added to the list to that election, which we had not budgeted for, we had not planned for, nor did they fund. So we were filing a complaint that they passed an unfunded state mandate that cost every single county in the state of New Jersey a total of $1.1 million. That we all as taxpayers had to foot the bill. And we're not saying we're not for vote by mail. In fact, now we can plan for it if that's going to continue. We can put it in the budget because now we know what to expect. But that added thousands of vote by mail ballots and a notice that was required to go out about it. That added thousands and tens of thousands of dollars of cost for that election that we did not anticipate nor was funded. That was the crux of the issue, plain and simple.
If I may?
Sure.
Ms. Mullin, I also believe that same meeting, we talked about over, Jerry, correct me if I'm wrong, 5,500 ballots went out and only 400 came back.
Correct.
Again, a lot of taxpayers' money that, again, the state is mandating, but we're not getting the return on the ballots. That's a lot of ballots out, 5,500 or so, I don't know the exact number, but about 400 came back, that was it.
Because people had no idea what was going on.
They were throwing them in the mail, trash, and people didn't even know they're going to the ballot, trying to vote, and most folks didn't even know what was going on.
Well, they'll get used to it, but that's not the issue of whether any came back. The issue to me was if, and Madam Chair, you have basically explained what transpired with this resolution. Because I would be very disturbed, and I'm sorry you even brought that up, Freeholder Corsi, about what came back. People have to get used to the ballot being mailed
That's
to
a bit
them.
better process.
That has to get used to. So that shouldn't have been even discussed in what Madam Chair is talking about. Madam Chair, you're saying that it was 2016 that you're backlogged on.
Well, the mandate was that anybody who applied for a vote by mail ballot in 2016 and 2017 was to be added to the list for the 2018 mail-in ballots, and they had to be noticed that they were going to get a mail-in ballot, even though they didn't apply for it for the 2018 election. That is the issue.
Okay, so
That
moving
was the
forward,
legislation.
where are we going in 2019, starting this year?
Well, it's still on the books, so now we're gonna anticipate how much more that added, and we put it in the budget. But what we're saying is for this year, it was an unfunded state mandate. It actually will continue to be an unfunded state mandate, but we're gonna plan for it now.
Okay.
That is the crux of the issue. It was an unfunded state mandate. We filed a complaint, where we joined the filing of the complaint against that, with the intent of, if we were successful, they would have to add a funding source to it. That is completely what it was about. It could have been about any topic. They could have added, us having to, give every member of the audience copies of our entire packet on paper, and that costs us $10 or whatever. It's an unfunded state mandate. It could have been any topic. We were against the fact that they brought a mandate on us that we had to pay for, that we had no anticipation of, we had no budget for, and we just had to take it.
Okay, so again, moving forward, 2019 in June.
It's all on the books and it's budgeted.
It's only for the general.
I'm sorry?
It's not for the primary.
Okay, we're moving forward. The ballots will still be going out.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other members of the public wish to speak? Okay, seeing none, we'll close public comments. Anything for the good of the order?
Madam Chair.
Yes,
A couple of things. One is that at the next meeting of the Board of Freeholders, through our solicitor, if we can have a resolution prepared to send back to the governor and the state of New Jersey Department of New Jersey Transit. New Jersey Transit. Since we've heard again today, that the Fed said they can open it tomorrow, we're asking them as a body to open the Atlantic City Rail as quickly as possible, because there's still a big cry out and a big need for it. And if it's not a safety issue to the feds, at least the state is not telling us why they're really not opening it yet. There's rumor on the street, or at least the belief on the street, that they don't want to open the Atlantic City Rail ever again anyway. So since the feds didn't say you can open it, I'm asking this board to support a resolution, to send it to our legislators, to Senator Brown, to our assembly people, to New Jersey Transit Director, whoever it needs to go to. And we can attach, they have it, the article that came out today. Second thing is that...
Can I just add to that real quick? Okay, just while we're on that topic. So I agree, because we discussed that, and I think we've all discussed this ad nauseum. I think what we should make sure we include, and I'm happy to send the language over, is the answers to the questions of, if you're not going to open it, the questions we posed at the last meeting, I think it was, and correct me if I'm wrong, what are the tasks needed to get it open? And what are the dates that those tasks are gonna be completed? And if you can't give us that, why? What are the reasons? Because we know the reasons that we've been getting are a bunch of crap. So anyway, just
It was
wanted.
supposed to be January 1st, it didn't happen.
Exactly.
Then it was supposed to be April, right? I'm sorry, say it again?
So they said with the cherry on top.
That's right.
Right, so if, in fact, they can open the line, let's just do it.
Yep.
Since they don't need a deadline in April, whatever the language is gonna read, but that's why we got attorneys to write that stuff.
Yep.
It's gotta be very strong, Mike. Very strong.
Just give me the article, because I didn't see it.
Okay.
There's an article today in the newspaper, or?
NJ.com.
Yeah, we'll get it to you. Ron.
It's in the press now, but it was NJ.com.
All right, I'm sorry. Go back.
I reserve the balance of the time.
No, you had another issue. and I-
He forgot.
Oh. I'm sorry.
Never.
Anything else for the good of the order while Freeholder Corsi thinks about the second item? Yes, Freeholder Dave.
Just publicly, Jerry, I want to thank you and Public Works and the Planning Engineering Departments. That situation on Pitney Road Report Public with the water seeping through, it was a quick resolution as far as I've heard and seen. It's been rectified despite the rain and the snow. There's been a very quick response to like 3 or 4 deer carcasses in the last several days as well. I just want to compliment. Again, I ask you to pass on my thanks, but I'm not saying you don't do it, but I want to take the opportunity in public to thank Public Works and engineering as well for that. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Did you remember it yet or no? Just before we adjourn, I see our warden is here, and our Atlantic County Jail just received a 100% compliance in its recent review. Do you want to highlight anything there, Warden?
I'll just say this is the third year in a row that the county jail received 100% compliance from the annual state TAC inspection. And I quarterback a good team, so I'm happy we were successful again this year. Thank you for the knowledge.
Thank you, Warden. Congratulations.
Make sure we pass the jail.
Yeah, he wanted the showers.
He wanted to make sure. That's how it was done.
All right, anything else for the good of the order? Hearing none, do we have a motion to?
Motion.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed, abstentions?